It's up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yes.
Usually,
Yes.
out of fear, the stock market is bottoming out. But then every time somebody speak up, have a press conference, and decide to give us a glimmer of hope, it goes back up.
Yeah.
So if this world system was to fall and we start all over again, we're not going back. We're not going back to Chicken George, and we're not going back that far. However, it is going to put us in a position where all that social conditioning about not trusting each other, we're either going to continue to move in that direction, or we're going to say, finally, we all we got, and we have to rely on each other. I'm going to have to buy my bread from you. I'm going to have to go to you and get my car repaired. I'm going to have to go to you to get my HVAC system checked. I'm going to have to go to you. We're going to have to go to one another, period.
That's
point
right.
blank. So this is going to be a really great time. If any stimulus checks is going out, you might as well go ahead and start your business, whatever that's going to be, whether it's going to be real estate, whether it's going to be car repair, hair, barbershops, nails, whatever it is, whatever it is, whether you open up an open air market, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever that $1,500 come, whenever it comes, you better invest in starting a business.
Reinvest yourself. Reinvest.
Invest in a business.
I completely agree.
Picking cotton. Or you gonna be, if you don't invest, you gonna be picking cotton, because Shell's not picking cotton. They can send me back to Africa first, or kill me.
Well, here is the thing. And I totally agree with everything that you're saying. What people, I think we have gotten into this complacent state of working for someone. Now, mind you, even everybody is not in leadership position or management position. It's because they've never really been taught to do that. They've accepted the status quo, that they're not good enough, they're not smart enough, they don't have enough degrees, and all of these other obstacles that have been placed before them. But as you stated before, our forefathers, our ancestors, coming up from slavery, we're not even going to go back to kings and queens and different things of ownership. Just let's come up from slavery. When we worked the fields, when we worked in the houses, and we created things to help our workload. We created tools and we created systems as slaves to help, quote unquote, the master's production go better. We realized then, when we were emancipated, let me take this knowledge that I have and go forth. Now, we, of course, know the story of being cheated of trademarks, being and patents and so forth and so on. However, it did not diminish our creativity. And what happened along the way, we believed the lies that we've always believed. But our forefathers did teach us, have a skill. My mother used to say, always get a skill. Do something that nobody can ever take away from you. They can take your job, but they can't take your skill.
Absolutely.
So learn how to do something that somebody will always be in need of, right? So in this time, what we're hearing people say is, I don't know what to do, but I want to do something. And there are so, as Sonny said, there are so many things that we are creatively able to do. Now is the appointed time through this catastrophe to tap into what will make us the most money. Right? And will not only make us the most money to sustain, but how can then I reinvest into my sister, my brother, so that you're also able to sustain? That's the difference. We win business for ourselves, by ourselves.
That's right. That's right.
And that's not how entrepreneurship should work. I should go in business for myself, knowing that if I come up, LeShelle coming up, Sonny is coming up, my neighbor's coming up. Whereas the new society of people who own the businesses just want to walk around and hand your business card and say, yeah, I own my own business. Well, that's great. But who are you hiring? Who are you trying to, at least trying to bring on the team? Whether they stay, whether they come or not, at least the open door is there. And I think because of what has now taken place, we surely will see a rise in our own businesses. But now we need to come at it like Back to the Future. Let's go back and take those lessons that our forefather gave us to say the whole community goes. If my wife was sold, my daughter was sold, my son was sold, I'm going to work until I buy each one back. That's how we will rise and create new systems for our people. That's all I got to say about it.
I totally agree.
It's been wonderful. Continue to carry on.
Continue to carry on. I know that's right. Thank you, Jazzy. I appreciate you, girl. Bye.
But you know the real deal, and I'm just enjoying this, and I knew that this was going to draw Jazzy into the conversation because this is a real conversation, and it's what we have not quite got it. I don't know what it's going to take for us to turn. I think that this coronavirus, and I believe thoroughly that everything happens for a reason. This is the best time to nurture, to integrate, to ingrain, to invest, and to clean up things that are within us, bring birth to things that we have been allowing to sit and fester, that you know deep down inside you have a desire to be, say, to do. And now is the time more than any. While there's this downtime to where people are not so busy that they can't just be attentive to the whole, right?
Right.
It's amazing that over the last week, the earth is healing because we're not out here polluting like the canals in Italy. They had dolphins that they hadn't seen in 50 years. Swans are coming into the canals. Fish are freely swimming up and down the canals. The pollution, the satellites are imaging what is happening to the earth. And I think that we have beat and battered this place to a point that,
absolutely.
We're burning.
We've taken what was given to us, and we haven't been good stewards over it. And it's not just the environment, not just the animals, but just in our relationships with each other, just being human beings. Period. We haven't been good steward over our relationship, man to man. We have not just been in right standing with this earth. Period. So, we're going, like, this time, it all depends on what your perspective is going to be. Are you going to be in fear and go into complete apocalyptic mode where I got to hoard everything? I'm going to fight tooth and nail in the middle of Sam's Club for some toilet paper? Or am I going to be an advocate for change? Am I going to be that person who says, no, we're not going to fight, we're going to share. We're going to share our resources. We're going to take turns on this block. Who's cooking this week? Or who's cooking today? Who's watching the kids? Who's going out to get supplies?
Community.
Are we going to go back to being a village? Are we going to go back to being a village? And I get it. Everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. I get it. So that means you're just not called to be a leader, and that's okay. If you're not called to be a leader, then be prepared to do the work.
That's it.
That's it.
Ooh, that was real good. Ooh, that was real good. That's it. Then be prepared to do the work. I think that's one of the biggest issues with the infighting just in the black community alone. We take anybody who rises up and we pick them apart. We pick them apart. We had our Malcolms, we had our Martins, and we try to find fault in anybody who stands where
up.
we ever can. That's it.
But if you're not, if you're not qualified, then just be silent. Just do the work.
Yeah.
Fold the paper, stuff the envelope, send the email, get the supplies, drive the car, prep the speaker, whatever. Just do the work. If you're not meant to lead, then just be a good follower. That's it.
Absolutely. But be important, be prevalent. You can do be of service, right? Be of service.
There's nothing wrong with being a layperson. There's nothing wrong with being a layperson.
Guess what? Even as a leader, you still got to be a layperson.
And even as a leader, you still got to be the one to say, I can get up here and I can delegate, but I can also get down in the trenches, roll my sleeves up, and till this land, or you know, or feed these kids, or cook this food. We have to get to a place where we have to start humbling ourselves and be honest about. Right, or just don't do it, and just be honest about what you can and cannot do. And I get it. There's work. Like I said, everybody is not prepared to be an entrepreneur. Everybody is not called to be an entrepreneur. Everybody is not purposed to be an entrepreneur. That's okay. That's absolutely okay. So then what we need you to do, for those of us who are entrepreneurs, then what we need you to do is just be a support. Advocate for us. I feel like my role and my position, even though me and a lot of other podcasters that I've been a guest on their platform, or other bloggers, other YouTubers, other journalists that I've come in contact with, I don't mind being a guest on their platform, because I know that I'm not taking away from anything that you do, and you're not taking anything away from what I do.
You are.
Oh my goodness.
If anything, I'm enhancing what you do, and you're enhancing what I do. I can learn from you, and you can learn from me, right?
Exactly.
Now, what my distinct and specific positioning is, I don't live in a large city, right? Black folks ain't in but like 10 cities. Where we at? We in Philly, we in Atlanta, we in Detroit, we in Chicago, we in Oakland, we in Houston. We in a handful of cities. But then for those black people who are in, like, what I say, West by God, East by Jesus, the folks who live in the Midwest, the folks who live the folks who live in towns where it's less than 50,000 people, the folks that are not living in these great, big, thriving, cities with huge populations of black people, and have next to no black-owned businesses to support. I reflect those people. I am a mirror image of those people, because I'm from a place called Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. When people think of Pennsylvania, they only know Pittsburgh and they only know Philly. But Harrisburg is the capital. Right. Harrisburg is the capital. But people don't know what my city is. So I feel like those people who don't live in huge cities, and they're wondering, well, ain't no black-owned businesses in my community, so how am I supposed to support a black-owned business? Who really genuinely feel like I don't have a choice but to go to Walmart, or I don't have a choice but to go to Target. I try to be a resource to those people and say, you know what, I'm just like you, but I still find a way to support black-owned businesses. I still find a way. I still go out of my way. I still take inventory of the things in my house, and then I make a list. These are the things that I need to buy next. Let me go online and see if I can find this product being made, produced, manufactured by a black-owned business. And then
I'm gonna tell you something. I love that, LeShelle.
And that's
yes.
And I know that's not easy to do, but I know that if I can do it, and ain't but maybe 10 or 12 black-owned businesses in my city, then I know you can do it too. Most of the black-owned businesses where I live at are service industry type businesses. Yes. They're massage therapists, they're barbers, they're hairstylists, but they don't provide and skincare. Skincare is major. Skincare and hair care, you can find that anywhere, Chad. But if I'm looking for black-owned toothpaste, mouthwash, shoes, if I'm looking for kitchen supplies, thank you. That's it. Yes. So it's like, I know that if I can do it, then I can encourage other people to do it too. Because I get it. Everybody don't live in Atlanta. We know Atlanta's popping. Right. We know everybody. Exactly. Aren't y'all full yet? Because y'all should put up a sign like we full. Okay, don't nobody listen. I know you going through it wherever you from, but do not come down here because we full. But that's what people do. Like Atlanta, we know Atlanta is it's like the Mecca right now for every type of industry. For every type of industry. So a lot of people are moving to Atlanta, trying to quote unquote make it. I'm gonna get into the tech industry.
Yes.
Or I'm gonna get into a reality TV show.
Right.
Or I'm gonna get with Tyler Perry. So people are going to Atlanta that's the land of milk and honey right now.
Mecca.
Oh my God, LeShelle, we were in London a few years ago, and somebody heard us speak and said, "Oh my God, where are you guys from?" And we said, at that time when we were living in Georgia, we were like, "Well, we're from Georgia," and they said, "Oh, you're from Atlanta." First thing they said, "Do you know the Atlanta Housewives?" We just kind of stood there like, I promise you the sum of Georgia is not the Atlanta Housewives.
That is not the summary of all, and that ain't the representation of all.
I promise you. But you're absolutely right when you say that there is so many, when you think Atlanta, because when we live there, we live the experience. We live the experience sometimes, I think, without recognizing we were living the experiences that most people in other states long before. Until you move out of that state and you see that you're the 2% or you're the 20% or wherever you are, that you're only a small percentage of representation of your state, then you realize, wow, we really were living.
Y'all had it good.
We had it good. But
that whole that Harlem experience, that Black Wall Street experience,
the Harlem Renaissance.
Let me tell you,
Harlem Renaissance.
But let me tell you, we lived the image of the experience. Let me be real. I call Atlanta my wantonest whore. She is my lover. That girl, when I tell you, she will woo you. She will feed you out of the best restaurants. She will dress you from some of the greatest Black-owned fashion designers in the whole entire world. She will woo you into the cheapest and most economical house you ever want to see. The parks will have you laid out having a picnic by yourself. She's amazing. She is amazing. Can you say how many businesses do you want to own?
Let's be real.
In Atlanta, Georgia? However, the underlining factor is if we live the Harlem Renaissance experience, we would then be economically empowered.
Yes.
Okay? Because what we are talking about here is what you don't see in Atlanta as a whole. Because we should own our own credit union by now. As many folks as up in Atlanta that have a little piece of change. Come on. That can do some things. We should have our own credit union. Okay? We should have more people making money and being in a positive state versus saying, I own my own business, but we still striving to make money. We should have employees
or I own my own business, but I don't have employees. That's what I was getting ready to say next.
We should have employees that have health insurance benefits because we have now understood the small business development stage of saying this is how we are successful. And I'm talking about us as well. Now, mind you, we put it out there for people. We've had people, but they don't want to do the work. See, because when you come into this podcast business, and you well know, people feel like pop on a podcast, you can get anybody and you can do anything.
Just show up.
You just, you do it whenever. It's just cute. It's fun. No technical, no order, no anything. But see, thank you, God, that we are 7 years in, still holding, still somewhat relevant. Thank God. This is not we all of that arrogant spiel, but this is a thank you, God, that we understand how it works. So when we're asking people, hey, join us, because we do want to pay you a salary. We do want to, offer insurance, but we have to build that in order to do it.
Right.
As fast as you think you have somebody reliable, you realize, baby, you're not here to work. So when I say Atlanta is that she's that whore that loves you and then she runs, I mean it's the attitude of the people who could be a strong suit and a strong fit for you, you realize that you're not willing to put in what it takes. I grew up on the Chicken Little story. Chicken Little found the little seed, and she asked everybody, "Come on, help me plant it." Everybody said, "Well, you know what, girl, you know I would."
Right.
But she
right
planted herself, and when she went on and pulled that weed out, she said, "Come on, y'all, help me pick it." They said, "Well, you know, right now, I got something to do.
I'm doing something else. I'm a little busy."
Okay, no problem. Let me go on and beat and bake the bread. Can somebody help me? Can you just turn on the stove? Girl, you know I would. Okay, well, bread is cooling off. Can somebody come and help me eat it? Girl, I'm ready. I can come. What time you want me to be there?
Of course.
See, but if you can't help me plant, pick, bake, please don't come and help me eat. Because that's not how this works. This is what our community, we have to realize. It takes me listening to your show, you listening to my show, you referring this business, me buying from your business, in order for us to make it and to stay relevant. We, the people, the people, have got to stay with and for each other.
We will complain about representation, not having representation. Mm-hmm. But then those of us who are out here trying to create a platform, come and promote your business, promote your services, promote your product, talk about your brand. You don't want to invest in us, but then you're mad because there's no representation.
Right.
That.
And you're talking about them lacking, and there's no reason. Let me tell you something. As far as I can't begin to tell you how many. Just ironically, look into for those who are on social media, go onto your Facebook page. How many times have people pulled you into groups? You might be in one group, 50,000, 60,000 people here, another 10,000 here, another 500 here, another 7,000 here, another 8,000 here. So I know I'm part of some groups that are over 50,000. If we cycle between each other, what would happen, right? Of course. The biggest thing that I think right now that's playing out that we're not necessarily paying attention to. We're looking at the results and the panic of, the stock market. It's so volatile. And it's so funny. I see conversations that people are having, but let's be real. How many of our African-American brothers and sisters are invested in that market seriously? That they have real financial gains plugged into that, right?
Few.
Very few. 401ks. A lot of people don't know what and how to navigate, which is the truth. Let's be honest. Nobody really knows how far along this situation is going to go. But, some of the latest reports with Italy, for instance, they're saying that the United States is trailing a few weeks behind the amount of activity of infection because of the exposure. Right. So, there needs to be a lockdown. They're trying to lock down and minimize the infection rate, the death toll. But, we're the most ununited United States.
Right.
So
you're
you got government officials.
People don't want to. Yes. People don't even want to stay indoors.
Right. They don't want to minimize contact. We had a friend.
Don't want to minimize contact. Feel like they're missing out.
Yeah. One of our friends posted on social media probably within the last hour or so. Jazzy shared with me, listen, I'm having a hard time getting people to give me my 6 feet to 10 feet of separation. I have health issues. I might not look like it, but I'm not trying to problematically create additional issues. And she is an entrepreneur, right? And in the food industry. So, nothing, at this point, what are we, from your perspective, LeShelle, how do you feel we have come along since the last recession to this point? And knowing from that distance from 2008 till now, how do you feel that we've come along, as a society?
I feel as a society as a whole, I feel like people want change, but they're not necessarily certain how to go about it. I think there is the old school versus the new school. So even if you look at our Democratic nominees, 2 elections in a row, the people calling for Bernie Sanders. 2 elections in a row. The most part, people been calling for Bernie. Mostly younger people are calling for Bernie Sanders. Then you have still the baby boomers want Joe Biden. That right there speaks volumes because it's an age difference. It's not necessarily a difference just on the issues alone. But when you're looking at who's more progressive and who's going to keep us stuck as if it's 1619, we're going to keep. It's going to continue to. Right, it's still going to continue to be this tug of war over who's going to be the next leader, who's going to be more progressive, who's going to be progressive as to access to health care, access to education, access to funding for our businesses. It's going to continue to be this tug of war. On one side, you have somebody who's pretty much going to keep doing what's always been done. And you have 2 other people. You got Elizabeth Warren, who even if you look at her record, sis in Congress, she done been able to get more done than any other person that they're recommending. So just based on that alone, I would say she's qualified to be a leader.
Now,
but she's a woman.
His group
and that's
has
the
been
reason, and that's
him
literally
for her endorsement.
Exactly. And literally people are not going to vote for her because she's a woman. In 2020, y'all still scared to have a woman in leadership, which makes absolutely no sense. Because I know 44, 48-year-old men who still call their mama on the phone when they get a temperature. So how are you scared to have a woman in any kind of leadership when you still relying on a woman to this day? Come on, it don't make no sense. But that's where we've gotten from 2008 to 2020. We're moving, but it's like at a snail's pace. Something radical is definitely going to happen. I mean, seriously radical is going to happen if we are going to experience any kind of significant life-altering in this generation change. Yes. At this rate, if I'm going to see my son in a situation that's better than mine, it might not even be his generation. It might be the next generation. Because everything's moving at a snail's pace. And people think we're doing better. People gauge whether or not they're successful if they have more things than their mom and dad had when they were kids.
Mm-hmm. And it's always the prep for the next generation. You know that.
That's all it is. You're just acquiring these things, and even with degrees. Okay, I'm the first person in my family to get a college degree. Oh, okay, great. That I'm not taking anything away from that. But then, what do you do moving forward to help those who are coming behind you?
Right.
You can't afford to do nothing because you. It's more than that paper, but you can't afford to do nothing because you got $130,000 worth of student loan debt. So what are we bragging about? So what are we bragging about? Right.
Holding it like a backpack, girl. And I'm going to tell you.
Just preach.
It's serious. And I tell people, I'm like, listen, all of this conversation about stimulus totally wipe out the student loan debt. You dump that off the books alone.
That'll boost the economy. Because I can afford to go buy a house now.
The economy.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about it's like being on the end of a seesaw and they drop a ton on the end. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a catapult out of
that will increase my credit score. I can go buy a house. I can invest in my business. I can get a loan. Like that would spur the economy faster than anything else.
So listen. People who are listening to this, let me tell you why this is so important too. You're about to hit dead on, and I was going to come behind you. So people like yourself, like me, I have 2 master's degrees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have student debt, you cannot go to the SBA and say, government, I want to get financial support for my business because you owe a federal loan that is nowhere near going to ever be scratched anytime soon.
Right. Not with the interest rate. Not with the interest rate.
Not with the interest rate.
And the balance. So, you know, when it comes to these conversations about SBA or federal bailout, I don't even see how that is going to be, because what's going to happen is redirecting you to SBA, and SBA is saying, okay, do these 10 steps, and before you even get to the first step, you're like, oh, Lord, so does that mean, because I owe taxes, and I have, you know, so
I owe taxes and student
for you as a media blogger and entrepreneur and, you know, being a female in a black-owned business, what obstacles have you had since you started your business? And also share with our listening audience how long you have been operating Minority Report, if you would.
Okay, so let me give you just a little bit of background. Again, I want to thank you so much for even just having me on your platform, and Jazzy. I'm just the love here is genuine. It's real. We're tackling some serious issues, and I'm hoping and praying that anyone who's tuning in right now is just getting these jewels and getting these gems and thinking of ways of how they are going to move forward, because what we've been doing in the past is no longer going to be applicable for this season or the next. My platform, Minority Report, featuring black-owned businesses, started out as a blog. I interview entrepreneurs, and I also do product reviews. I provide honest product reviews, and I only review products from black-owned businesses. So if I'm, engaging with someone and anyone, I review any type of product. It doesn't matter what it is: food, clothes, fashion, hair, makeup, anything. I do book reviews, all of that. And I really like to just create a space where entrepreneurs can either come on my platform, and for those who are camera shy, I'll write a blog post about you and really just provide a platform for you to tell your story, talking about your business, your brand, how you got it to where you are now, any kind of sales or promotions that you may be having. That's what my platform truly and genuinely is about. It really is about circulating that black dollar. It really is about us practicing group economics. And it really is also a platform for consumers as well, where you can go and you can find products that are comparable to what you've been using probably for generations. Stuff like Tide. My grandmama used Tide. My mama used Tide. I use Tide. It is what it is. Crest toothpaste. I mean, it's just something that those products are just things, they've been staples. But I'm here to tell you that there are black-owned businesses that are creating products that are comparable or even better than what you've been using. I think the challenge that I've experienced with my platform is the trust. Getting people to trust that these brands are just as good as what they've been using. And then the second would definitely be people coming out of their comfort zone. Just being so used to, I'm just going to run to Walmart, I'm going to run to a box store, whether it's Target, Rite Aid, CVS, Walgreens, grocery store, whatever, and I'm just going to pick up this product because I ran out of it. Getting people to plan, because buying black is something that has to be intentional. It has to be intentional.